Well, hello and welcome to the show. I am your host, Tracy Tim, and you are watching the Nth Degree TV, the place to be to take your career from stuck to unstoppable. That's right, you. If you've always wanted to find work that you love, then you have come to the right place. This week on the blog, we explored career transitions. Specifically, I talked about some of the transition mistakes that I've seen people make, including myself, when they're trying to transition in their career. And as a career coach, one of the most frequent things that I hear from clients and would-be clients alike is the intense fear that they feel at even the prospect of leaving the semblance of safety and security that they currently have, even if they hate their jobs. I realize that this is usually because these people lack some type of coherent plan that would allow them to make a more graceful and seamless transition from one career, job, or industry to another. And because of that, I enlisted a dear friend who I believe to be the authority in successful career transitions. His name is Ramin. Ramin and I met in elementary school, believe it or not, and over the years we've kept up a friendship, as best we could. But a few years ago we reconnected because of the amazing transition that Ramin had made in his life and his career. Previously, Ramin was the founder and owner of an asset management company. He was managing other people's money under his own business, and he grew that business over 5 years and got a ton of media and attention for his success at such a young age. But secretly, Ramin was miserable. He was so miserable that he finally shut his business down, moved to India, lived on an ashram for 5 months, moved back to Texas, and became, of all things, a high school biology teacher. And best of all, he is, quote, the happiest he's ever been in his life. Once I heard this story, I knew I had to share it with you, and last year I did a podcast with Ramin to do exactly that. But today I wanted to share Ramin's 5 steps for making graceful career transitions that got him from miserable to what he now refers to as a smile millionaire. So here we go. Step number 1, create a real, tangible plan. Real life is so different from school. In school, they tell you exactly how to succeed. Do your homework, study for tests, get good grades, rinse and repeat. But in real life, there's no plan or process to follow. That is, unless you make one for yourself. So Ramin's first bit of advice is to create a real, tangible plan before you leave whatever job you have right now. Start by brainstorming 3 to 5 ideas that you think you would enjoy doing. If you're struggling with this first part, don't worry. Not only do we have other videos on that subject, but also we're going to be launching our online course called the Nth Degree Academy online in April. And there you can learn so much more about discovering work that you would actually love doing. Now, once you have a handful of ideas, then you need to find practical ways to take steps towards each idea. For example, Ramin says if you want to be an actor in LA, ask yourself how you would get started. Do you know someone who lives there? Are you cool with bartending or waiting tables while you take classes? Do this practical exercise with all of your ideas until you feel happy and comfortable with each viable strategy. Next, you'll want to make a cash flow plan to go along with your acquisition strategy. Ideally, you'll want to save for 4 to 8 months worth of expenses. And the only way to do this is to know your budget inside and out. Don't kid yourself. Pretending you don't spend as much at the bar as you actually do is not going to get you where you want to go. Be brutally honest about putting together a budget and cutting out things that are unnecessary. This will be different for everybody, but just as a reminder, if you cut out your daily Starbucks order, even that will save you over $100 a month. Remember the big picture and plan a budget that's going to get you to your vision. Step number 2, take a legitimate break. I know this from personal experience. Leaving a job and making a real significant change in your life and your plans for what that life will look like will leave you with an emotional hangover that will rival the one you got after St. Patrick's Day. By taking some time off, you allow yourself to adjust to the idea of your new life, and you build up stores of energy that you're going to need to dive into that life head first. This is not the time to sleep in every day, although that's nice to do for a little while. You also don't want to be partying your face off all the time either. This time should be spent with family and friends who build you up, nature and travel, which will keep you grounded, and any bit of self-improvement that you feel would be really meaningful, like books, meditation, retreats, and things like that. I spent mine on semester at sea. Ramin spent his on an ashram. Yours is totally up to you. Ramin recommends taking at least 1 full month off of work. He took 5 overall, and I ended up taking about 9 or 10. This will completely depend on the amount of money you've been able to save and the level that you've been able to cut your budget down to. The number one argument that you're going to hear against this break from life is the resume issue. No one wants to have a giant hole gaping in their resume. But remember, your resume is only as good as your explanation of it. And in the Nth Degree Academy Online, we have an entire bonus module about how to tell a great story with your resume, even if it has holes. Don't stress. You need this time mentally and physically to become a better version of yourself. So take the break that you need so you can move forward with confidence. Step number 3 is to implement the plan. The next few months should be spent implementing the plans that you created for your viable career options. If you're starting a business, you may want to rework this a little bit so you don't run into a cash flow problem. Most businesses are not profitable on day one, as it turns out. However, if you're transitioning to a more traditional career, now's the time to put your practical plan into place. I recommend taking the initial steps in each plan and seeing where life takes you. If the stars align with your plan to become an actor, let's say you have a friend whose couch is open, a restaurant down the street that's hiring, the school where you're taking classes has 1 spot open for you, right? You get the idea? Then run with it. In my experience and those of my clients, more often than not, a few of these plans are going to fizzle out over time, but one of them will stand the test of time. Take 3 solid months and do everything you can to make that dream a reality. Ideally, this step takes place while you're still employed, but it's different for everyone. Don't stress over the circumstances too much. Focus on giving it your all and see where you land 3 months from now. Step number 4, leave with grace. Once you've narrowed down your options, you've got a legitimate plan in place, and one path sort of rises above all the others, you have to transition gracefully from the job you have to the job you really want. This is not an opportunity to reenact the scene from Half-Baked where the guy just throws down his hat and yells at everybody about how much they suck.
Still waiting on that heifer, Julio. You're cool. And you, I'm out.
That may go without saying, but I've seen it all too many times that misery and burnout can make us forget how important it is to leave a job on a positive note. Your resume can handle a hole or two, but your reputation cannot survive a scathing review from your previous boss or your business partner saying that you checked out for the last 6 months. Pull together all the grace that you can and exit a business with as much intention as you entered. Ramin recommends you add this little flourish as well. Find out your boss's birthday, set a reminder to send her a bottle of wine or something appropriate on that day with a note thanking her for all the lessons that you learned while working together. This is something I wish I had done when I left my first job. I could have solidified more positive relationships had I cared to worry about someone besides myself. So put on your big girl pants and leave a positive note behind. Step number 5, move forward with confidence. If you've followed each one of these steps in whatever order makes sense for you, then you've done a lot of work to ensure your future success, regardless of that endeavor. It can't be said any simpler than this. Work will always have ups and downs, but now you need to move forward with the confidence that you're finally on your way to work you love. Don't look back, don't wallow, take your break, and then start moving forward with the confidence that you've done everything that you need to do to succeed. So there you have it. Those are our 5 steps to transition gracefully in your career. And now I'd like to hear from you. Which of these steps do you think that you need to take next? And is there anything else that you've done in a career transition that you've found super helpful? I'd love for you to share in the comments below because I love hearing about your career journey. Of course, you can also get the discussion going over on our sweet little space on the World Wide Web, tracytim.com. So get on over there and leave a comment now. While you're there, make sure you hop on our email list where you can receive our free guide that's all about knowing when and how it's the right time to quit. There you'll find the 8 essential questions to ask yourself to find out if it's time to finally take that leap and start doing something that you really, really love. Did you like this video? I hope you did. If you did, like it because I loved it. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out some other helpful videos that you really might enjoy, especially if you loved this one. And that's a wrap for today. Remember, now is your time. And with a little bit of work and a little bit of help, I promise that we can take your career from stuck to unstoppable. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode of the Nth Degree TV. You also don't want to be partering. Parter party. Had I carried to worry, cared, not carried. Sorry. The first one's always the most bleh.